Why simple things are starting to feel sacred again. Have you noticed something changing lately? Not just in yourself, in other people too. People who once seemed obsessed with speed are slowing down. People who once wanted more are suddenly wanting less. People who once spent every spare moment scrolling are finding themselves drawn to books, gardens, long walks, quiet mornings, and real conversations. People are lighting candles, growing vegetables, watching birds, making bread, sitting outside with a cup of tea, listening to rain on the window, watching sunsets, looking at the stars. And perhaps the strangest part of all is that these things don't feel boring anymore. They feel important, meaningful, almost sacred. Which raises an interesting question. Why? Why are so many people suddenly finding comfort in things that previous generations simply called normal life? Why are simple things starting to feel extraordinary? Because if you've noticed it too, you're not imagining it. Something is happening. Not because humanity has discovered something new, because humanity is remembering something old. For a very long time, society has been moving in one direction: faster, louder, more connected, more productive, more efficient, more available, more stimulation, more information, more noise. Every year, life seemed to speed up a little more. Technology became faster, communication became instant, entertainment became endless. And while many of these things have brought genuine benefits, they have also created something else: a world where silence became rare, stillness became rare, presence became rare. The average person now consumes more information in a day than previous generations would have encountered in weeks. Notifications arrive constantly. Opinions arrive constantly. News arrives constantly. The world never stops talking. And eventually, something interesting begins to happen. The nervous system gets tired, not broken, not weak, tired. Because despite all our modern advances, our bodies are still ancient. Our brains are still ancient. Our nervous systems are still ancient. The part of you that feels calm while sitting beside a fire, the part of you that enjoys listening to birdsong, the part of you that relaxes during a walk in nature, that part has existed for thousands of years, and it hasn't changed nearly as much as the world around it, which means something fascinating happens when life becomes too fast. Humans naturally begin searching for balance, not because they're trying to be spiritual, not because they're trying to be trendy, because their nervous system is asking for something it recognizes, something familiar, something human. This is why a walk often feels better than another hour scrolling. Why a real conversation often feels better than reading hundreds of comments online. Why watching a sunset can sometimes bring more peace than watching another episode of a television show. Because these experiences nourish something deeper. They feed parts of us that algorithms cannot reach. And perhaps that's why simple things are beginning to feel sacred again. Not because they were ever ordinary, because we forgot how extraordinary they always were. Think about it. When was the last time you sat outside and simply watched the wind moving through trees? No phone, no agenda, no multitasking, just observing. For thousands of years, humans lived in direct relationship with the natural world. They understood seasons, rhythms, cycles. They knew when things bloomed, when things rested, when things grew, when things died. Today, many people can tell you what is trending on social media, but couldn't tell you what phase the moon is in or what birds live in their local area. And again, this isn't criticism, it's simply observation. We've become very connected to the digital world and often disconnected from the physical one. Yet the body still remembers, the soul still remembers, the nervous system still remembers. Which is why so many people find themselves longing for things they can't fully explain. A slower morning, a cup of tea in silence, a garden, a notebook. A meaningful conversation, a moment where nobody needs anything from them. These things aren't luxuries, they're nourishment. Psychologists often talk about attention as one of our most valuable resources. Where attention goes, energy follows. And modern life has become extremely good at capturing attention. Every app, every advertisement, every notification, every platform, competing for a piece of your awareness, competing for a piece of your life. And after years of this, many people are discovering that attention itself has become precious. They are beginning to realize that peace isn't found by adding more. It's often found by removing what isn't needed. A little less noise, a little less pressure, a little less urgency, a little less comparison. And suddenly, the simple things become visible again. A flower, a dog sleeping peacefully, the smell of rain, fresh bread, a smile from a stranger, a sunset, things that were always there, waiting patiently, waiting to be noticed. This isn't about rejecting modern life, it's about creating balance within it. Technology is not the enemy. Progress is not the enemy. The problem begins when we forget that we are human. Because humans need rhythm. Humans need connection. Humans need beauty. Humans need moments of stillness. Humans need nature. Humans need community. Humans need wonder. Without these things, life begins feeling strangely empty. Not because anything is wrong externally, because something internally is hungry. Hungry for meaning. Hungry for presence. Hungry for reality. And perhaps this explains why so many people are rediscovering old practices. Journaling, meditation, gardening, reading, walking, crafts, cooking, prayer, quiet reflection. Not because these practices are fashionable, because they slow us down enough to reconnect with ourselves. They create space. And space is becoming one of the rarest resources in modern life. Space to think, space to breathe, space to feel, space to remember who we are beneath all the noise. Philosophers throughout history have spoken about the good life. Interestingly, very few of them described it in terms of possessions, or status, or constant achievement. Instead, they spoke about character, relationships, meaning, purpose, presence, the things that continue mattering long after trends disappear. And perhaps that's why people are starting to question old assumptions. Perhaps success isn't having more. Perhaps success is needing less. Perhaps wealth isn't measured only by money. Perhaps wealth is having time, peace, health, friendship, connection, a life that feels aligned. Because eventually, most people discover something. The moments they remember most rarely involve possessions. They remember conversations, journeys, laughter, nature, family, friendship, moments of awe, moments of love, moments where they felt fully alive. The simple moments, the human moments, the sacred moments. And maybe that's what we're witnessing right now. Not a trend, not a phase, a correction, a return. Human beings slowly remembering what matters, not abandoning the future, not rejecting progress, simply reclaiming parts of themselves that got left behind along the way. The part that enjoys watching rain, the part that enjoys silence, the part that enjoys growing something, creating something, sharing something, the part that understands that life isn't something to rush through, it's something to experience. So if you've found yourself craving simpler things lately, don't assume something is wrong. Perhaps something is right. Perhaps you're not moving backwards. Perhaps you're remembering that peace has always been available, remembering that beauty was never hidden, remembering that meaning often lives inside ordinary moments, and remembering that some of life's greatest treasures were never complicated to begin with. If this episode resonated with you, I'd genuinely love to know what simple thing in your life has started feeling more meaningful recently. Leave a comment below and let me know. And if you know someone who has been craving a slower, more meaningful way of living, share this video with them. It may be exactly what they need to hear today. And if you'd like to join us for more conversations like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and become part of the Valkyrie 33-8 community. As always, this has been Valkyrie. Thanks for stopping by. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others. Lanterns up, people.